Okay, this is Dr. Bob, and I'm here with Dr. Mark Armitage. He is with the Dinosaur Soft Tissue Institute, right?
Research Institute.
Research Institute.
Yes.
Okay, District.
District.
Yes. District. And we're here actually in Glen Rose, Texas, but we had the opportunity to spend some time listening to a presentation from Dr. Armitage, and so we wanted to spend a few minutes now and just talk to you a little about your research, if that's
okay. Sure.
So what you have focused on is soft tissue in dinosaur bones.
Yes,
correct? And
correct.
how long have you been doing that?
Well, since about 2012, when I was first invited on a dig, I'd always wanted to go on a dig, of course. Mm-hmm. Who didn't want to go on a dinosaur dig?
Right.
So I've always wanted to go on one, but was never afforded an opportunity. But as a soft tissue processing expert running electron microscopy labs at different universities, I was trained in how to prepare soft tissues for microscopy. So when I started reading the journals about the dinosaur soft tissue, I was floored because I understood everything. Those were my protocols. Right. So when the chance came to go on a dig, we went to the Hell Creek Formation, the same place that Dr. Schweitzer and other, Jack Horner and others have dug. And we were looking for femurs because everybody was finding femurs and, of course, finding the soft tissue in them. And we were so dejected because we dug for 3 days, didn't find really anything, some ribs, some teeth, piece of jaw, but no femurs because the reigning paradigm was you have to find femurs to find these soft tissues. Well, on the last day, the ranch owner, Marge Beisch, said, I think I know where there's a Triceratops brow horn stuck point down in the ground, and only the tail end is sticking out. Let's go. So we tooled over there. She has a 1,000-acre ranch that's world famous. But and lo and behold, we dug this 49-inch Triceratops horn out of the ground, but it was cracked, fractured, full of roots, full of fungal bodies. Later, we did a DNA analysis and found, upwards of 60 organisms had been infiltrated into this bone. So we were dejected because we thought, it's wet, it's crumbly, we're not going to find anything. Actually, we were finding that the more fossils resemble hardened coffee grounds, the more preserved the tissues are. I don't know what the mechanism is there. Right. But so we started in 2012 with the Triceratops horn. It got me terminated from the university very quickly when I published
Which is
the
probably
report.
why most people know your name.
Yeah, I think that kind of made me famous. Yeah. And so, we were able to get my retirement back from the university, which allowed me the freedom then to go and explore. Because when I found all this tissue, and of course you saw that stretchy sheet of fibrillar tissue on is Genesis history. I mean, I was shocked to just be able to pull that and let it go back to its original shape. When I saw that in this horn that was so highly degraded, I thought, this is the norm. This has to be the norm. And so I pronounced a prediction that this would be the norm, and here we are. Now we're finding it in every bone, every dig.
Now, in the presentation we just saw, you spend a lot of time talking about the blood clots in the blood canals in bone.
Yes.
That's become another that's kind of ubiquitous, right? You're seeing it.
We're seeing it in every bone that we thin section, even the ones that are permineralized. What most people don't realize is these bones are still bone. They haven't been hardened into stone.
Right.
So they're just like my bones. And so when I go into the hospital with a bone disease and they take a biopsy and they do this protocol on it, we're following the exact same protocols that hospitals are using to decalcify these bones and extract the tissues. So it's shocking that bone after bone after bone is still bone after being in the ground for so long. I mean, I was trained to take tissues out of the organism I wanted to study, put it on ice immediately in solutions, 4 degrees C. So I was taught to walk these things down through ice the whole way. Why? Because we were losing morphology if we didn't put it on ice. We're losing the shapes inside of the tissue. So imagine my shock when I start pulling out osteocytes, bone cells, vessels, nerves with lipids in them, fats in them still. It's shocking to see these things as a soft tissue expert.
Because your background then would say that that type of morphology and that type of cell structure and everything is it's a fragile thing.
It's very labile. In fact, autolysis alone can account for much degradation. Dr. Schweitzer herself has commented on this. Hydrolysis, the presence of water, is highly destructive for dead tissues. It breaks them down right away. And then, of course, all the countless microbes and ciliates and worms and bacteria that are designed in the soil to break these things down. So, yeah, these are impossible pictures. I don't know why they're here, but they're here.
So it lends itself then to the idea that this was, one, a catastrophic process,
Yes.
because you're seeing all these blood clotting and
Yes.
everything, so these are drowned.
Yeah, that's the indication. The fact that disseminated intravascular coagulation, which is a known medical condition, happens when you're drowning. And if you die in that condition, all of your blood clots systemically. So it's a dead ringer for drowned organisms.
So we know then that this idea of it being a catastrophic process in terms of their death, but also that then in order to maintain that structure over even the 4,000 to 10,000 years,
Right.
Would mean that they've been isolated from the biological processes.
Even
So
the
events of
isolation,
flood,
but even the isolation would not stop the degradation. You see, these things will break apart in a vacuum. So no, I don't know why they're still here. I mean, I have my suspicions as to why. I think the Lord probably has a lot to do with
I
it.
say scripturally because he talks about evidence, and so it's good. It's not. We're not averse to evidence. We just say don't rely
Right.
on evidence for our
Right.
faith. Yeah.
But he gives us clues in scriptures. Number one, he talks about the behemoth and the bones are like brass, right? There's a clue. Maybe these things are made a little differently. He also talks about in Deuteronomy 29, don't you remember that I preserved the soles of your feet, for your shoes, for 40 years? There's another clue that maybe God is interested in preservation. So I don't know, but there's no, to date they have offered one explanation called the iron preservation theory that we believe has been invalidated now because of the fact that all of the bones show clots that never left the canal. So if the clots are still in the canal, all the heme, all the iron is still in there, which is what we've shown, then it didn't migrate out into the bone and preserve the tissues that are in the bone. So
There's power in the blood, just not that kind of power.
not that kind of power. That's right.
Now, you've taken this work, though, you've taken a really unique approach that in addition to publishing in these professional journals and everything, which you continue to do
Yes.
even to this day,
Yes.
but then taking that same scholarly background and discipline now to even kids.
Yes.
So that's really
Yeah.
your focus now, right?
It's
Is taking that
fantastic.
to kids.
The kids are so excited. These students that are depressed, dejected, just this COVID thing has just rocked their world. They have no hope or little hope. They've lost touch with their friends. They've lost friends. They've lost school. They've lost all this social interaction and stuff. So we're going to take this out on the road. We did a test laboratory in Pennsylvania and State College. It was a smash hit. It seemed like the whole community was involved. I think we had over 200 kids, middle school and high school, take part. We did 4 labs of 20 students each in one day, and then we did other workshops other days. So we figured, hey, you know what? If we can't train the PhDs that need to know this information, we'll train the 13-year-olds, and they can train the PhDs.
Bottom up instead of top down.
Go
Just
bottom up.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, we really appreciate your time. There's going to be a
Thank
lot
you.
more, I think, that we're going to have to say about this, and we're going to see from you in the future, the work you're doing with not just Cretaceous, but Permian,
Yes.
and now even
Devonian.
looking at Devonian.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great evidence for all of us to look at,
Yeah.
to strengthen believers and those who
Yes.
desire to believe. And so we're
And to win the lost,
that.
for every person that is arguing with you, walk around them and find the 5 people who have open hearts behind them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is Dr. Bob here with Dr. Mark Armitage. One more indication that it's okay to believe.
Thank you. God bless.
Thanks.
Thank you.